Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I am back. I'm Mr. Showtime, Michael Wright, as your host, and today we are reviewing Summerslam 2024. With me, as always, is my co-host, my tag team partner, stevezapf. Steven, how are we doing today?
Man, I'm excited. I'm really happy about this show. Little known fact, I don't think I've even said it on the show normally, but SummerSlam is my favorite event.
You've said this at least 17 times. You say it constantly.
No, I say SummerSlam 1991 is my favorite all-time event.
You say SummerSlam. This is the reason why SummerSlam's my favorite.
No, I've said that to you.
On the show, it's constant. Everyone knows.
You just think we're always on the show.
It's the worst kept secret in wrestling.
Except for who Captain Uncle Howdy is.
Sure. I mean, Chad figured that out. That was all.
That's why we all know.
Everyone, this SummerSlam I thought was a great show. Like we don't do star ratings or anything like that, but this was like an overall like 4-star card.
By the way, we're working on the normal 5-star system.
Yeah, definitely.
Just so everyone understands, like there's not some 32-star match that we're gonna grade. We work off 5 stars like normal people.
Well, when I graded the WrestleMania, the best of WrestleMania, I did it out of 10, like not stars, but like a 10-point scale. I would never have called it a 10-star match or anything like that. But yes, if I'm talking about star ratings, it only goes to 5. You're allowed to go back and revise them if you want to, I guess, but you can't go higher than 5. And this one overall, I thought it was like a 4-star card. Like, there was some really good buildups. I think that there was some really strong matches. Some weren't as good as I wanted to be, and we'll obviously go through that. But all in all, I was entertained.
I highly enjoyed this, the card in general. My one knock, and this is going into the card, I would have liked a tag team match.
I'm with you. I thought we were gonna get the A-Town Down Under versus the Awesome Truth as kind of like a throw-in match.
Like a quick thrown-in their match. But I get why the Judgment Day didn't defend because other things happened, but JD and Finn should have defended the tag team titles on this card.
This was like a 50% Judgment Day pay-per-view. It should have been SummerSlam brought to you by the Judgment Day.
Just Dom holding up SummerSlam.
Yep, that's it. It just written on JD's forehead. Giant placement.
You still have room,
right? I realized something on this show too. I love the way WWE can make a heel out of something, and then no one pays any attention whatsoever afterwards. And what I'm building towards here is the Prime placement on the mat. I know a lot of wrestling fans are really upset about that and pissed at Prime for it because the ring is a sacred place and whatever you want to call it. And it is. I'm not, that's not what the whatever is for. But Prime takes all the heat and no one minds that Wingstop is there. And was it like Stamps to Go or whatever the other person was? I can never remember who it was.
Something else was over
It was
there.
the one in black writing. And no one really paid much mind to them. Like, they're not getting the negative press off of it because we have the heel. We know who to hate. We'll hate Prime. We'll hate Logan Paul for it. And everyone else, Prime already broke that, so I can't blame them for doing it. You can, but you won't because they did it masterfully.
This logo is inconvenient and highly dangerous, but I do love my Fig Newtons.
It's exactly right. Let's get into it, Steven. Start off with one of the matches I was most anticipating, might not be the word, but fearing, excited about. I was in a glass case of emotion, to be honest with you. If you want to keep the Will Ferrell quotes going on. And so this was Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship. Steven, what'd you think?
Man, it was so good to have Mommy make an entrance again into a wrestling match. I love the story that they told with this. Honestly, like the shoulder thing, that was like, and even how she was able to hold it, so it, like
it looked like she dipped it. Like I don't even know if I could do that.
I can, but that's just because I know what she's going through.
Yeah, fair.
But that was the thing, is the way she did it. She made it look like, you can tell Rhea is kind of like that student of the game, that she's so OCD about this stuff. She probably sat there like, hey, I know we're doing this, for like days before this show. Like, how can I do this? How can I do this? Can I make it look like it's out? Like, if I pull it really far forward, will it make the right? And the only thing I have to say is, by the way, guys, I know I've said this on the show. When you slam your shoulder into a post or a desk or something like that, a la Mel Gibson from Lethal Weapon, it does not pop your shoulder back into place. It just fucking hurts. Just so you know. Like, it looks cool. And she looked like a beast doing it. With that said, I'm pulling the curtain back a little bit on this one. That doesn't work.
Well, it didn't. If you actually watch what she did, she hit her shoulder into the announcer's table, and then she pulled her arm out, which is how you pop it back in.
That is, yeah.
If you move it the right way,
it'll pop
pull
back
on
in.
it, it'll pop back in. So, say what you will, but Mommy knows that as well. She just kind of threw her shoulder at that. When that didn't work, she like pulled her own wrist and did like a short arm to herself and popped right back into place. So touche, sir. Touche.
Overall, I really like this match, though. Like I said, I love the story that they told. I love the cat and mouse game that they played in the beginning of this match. That
was really good.
And then I love Liv getting to take over. Again, the emotional aspect of Rhea kicking out of the Oblivion the first time. And I was like, yes, maybe we're wrong. This is one of those matches I kind of almost want to be wrong about. And then we were not wrong. We were not wrong at all. Nobody was wrong. Everyone knew what was going to happen. Overall, though, I did like this. And I have been saying this for kind of weeks and months leading into this, because this was where we were getting to. We've questioned Liv Morgan's abilities on every aspect that we do. We questioned, in the beginning of all this, we questioned her character. In the beginning, we were questioning her matches. We've both said if she can't have a good match with Rhea Ripley, she can't have a good match. Mm-hmm. And this was Liv Morgan's time to shine, and I think she did a really good job. So I'm going to give her flowers on this one. Don't get me wrong. Mommy is still the greatest female wrestler in the world today, as far as I'm concerned. But Liv held up her 50% on this one.
I'm with you on all of that. I think that Liv did a great job with this match. I think, obviously, Rhea did a great job with this match as well. And it was one of those things where I knew it was building, I knew it was coming, and I was really unhappy when it happened because I knew that Dom was going to double cross her throughout this, and they still could have done some of those things where like Dom messed up, and you think that he was doing it, and it reveals a little bit later. I think I'd have been happier with that, but at the end of the day, that's not what happened. He slides that chair in, gives Liv the win. Points to the ref to get his attention back in the ring. The thing I was really, really missing with that was I wanted Dom to kiss Liv the way he did at the end as well, and then her be like, "No, this is what I was doing the whole time. I'm manipulating you." Later, and like kind of throw that one out there, and we still may get that, but that's kind of what I'm waiting, because I like where the storyline goes, where Dom is now alone. And he has no one to rely on. And I hope that's where this goes, because I think that's the way we get like serious Dom, where he now no longer trusts anybody. He's a bit of a loner. That means he has to learn how to fight for himself. And then we can get him like really being a great worker in the ring, because that's what I'm missing on that front. Steven, we talked about this a little bit, and I liked your response. So one of the things that, I don't critique Mommy often. And I don't think I'm doing that now, but she does that finish move. I think they call it the jailbreak. I'm not 100% sure if that's what it's called.
That would make
But
sense because of Dom.
yeah, and so but it's the like reverse cloverleaf. And while I'm watching it, I don't understand why it hurts. Like I don't know where the pressure is coming from. Like she's strong, sure. So like pick me up and do something like that. I'm sure it hurts somehow. But you were kind of giving an explanation earlier because it's not really torquing the back at all. But why does this move work?
So I think it's a knee thing. I think it's a knee ankle thing. It is a similar hold to like I think this is less cloverleaf and more sharpshooter, where you're not working the back as much, you're more working the knee. So when she wraps the ankle underneath the knee and she wraps the arm through it, I think she's wrenching down on the leg that's over it. And it's a combination of things. It's her pulling down on there, and then also while she's pulling down, the weight of the other wrestler is supposed to be pulling down on the leg. This is one of those things where I think if you do this to someone, I liken it to, I think they used to call it the Brock lock. I know it's a stretch muffler overall, and Lesnar used to do it all the time, where he would wrap someone's leg, the back of their knee around his neck and yank on it that way. So I think it's still very much that type of thing where they're kind of accordioning the knee and yanking that down, but also you're yanking it down while pushing up on the ankle. I think this is all around supposed to be affecting the knee. So I guess the knock is after she does it a lot of times, whoever she's doing it to doesn't necessarily sell the leg enough like they should.
I've never seen one person sell this move.
And I could see this being a situation where even if what I'm saying for the move isn't correct, they could sell this as a hip thing even, because while you've got it yanked up like this, she could say that like the weight of the person is yanking down on their hip and like that.
It's definitely a knee thing. I'm looking at pictures of it over here now as I'm looking at it, and essentially the way it has the one leg straight and the other leg draped over it, and she's pulling on
the top leg,
on
right?
the ankle, on the top ankle, yeah. And it's definitely working that knee, but but no one ever sells it, like you said. That's why I was kind of missing. I'm like, where is the pressure? Because afterwards you should be limping, or afterwards you keep working that knee and trying to fly it back.
Yeah, because I think it's supposed to be the knee. If going through our multiple years of being involved in the business, being in varying types of grappling myself, I believe it's supposed to be like a pulley system. She is pulling down on the top ankle, and even to the point where in martial arts and in anything that you do working out wise, a lot of times you bring in the fact of a push-pull system. So I believe what she is doing is pulling down on that top ankle and pushing with her chest against the knee, and it's supposed to be adding pressure everywhere. So I guess the knock is not Rhea for doing the move, but the other person should start selling the leg.
Yeah, it's called
or if we're going to knock Rhea, she should be fighting for the other person to be selling the leg, at least for a little while.
Yeah, or work a leg a little bit, because I know she's not that kind of wrestler that needs to work a limb in order to tap them out. But I would like to see this have a little bit more focus, have a little bit more teeth to this move, because it looks great. And that's why I was like, man, I just really wish I bought that this hurt.
That's why I think it's more them not selling it, because I feel like me and you shouldn't do this because neither one of us have the best knees to begin with. But I feel like if we were to do this, maybe the scarps one day. Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, he'll never see it coming.
Yeah, he'll never see it coming. But maybe I could see if we did this to someone, even just as like a tester, like, this, because most of those moves, even if you don't apply pressure, you can feel where the pressure is going to.
Yeah. And when you watch it in real time, when no one sells it, it just seems like a throwaway move. It's just a move that looks cool, that there's no reason for it. And I just didn't believe that Mommy would do something like that. But as we ramble on this one, we both have Liv Morgan winning this. She retains the championship. I'm really pumped to see where this goes. After watching this match, I realized that there is no women's division on Raw at this point in time. It's just the two of them. And so we're in a situation where it's going to be the two of them going back and forth of this belt for the foreseeable future. Rhea's going to go full face now.
Dom gets the women's title.
You know what? And renames it the intergender title. Let's go full Kaufman here. I'm in for that.
That is something that Eddie Guerrero would do.
Yes, it really is. And I'm curious. Rhea's going to go back to the blonde hair for a little bit, like still have like the same look, but she goes blonde again to show that she's a baby face. Nothing says baby face like blonde hair.
Just ask Cody.
The only other woman that really could get in this mix right now seems like Sister Abigail. Like I'm not quite sure.
I don't think they're gonna push her towards that. In all honesty, I feel like the only one from that group, and again, she's not even with the group just yet, might be Alexa Bliss.
Yeah, Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair, those guys can come in and have an impact on day one. Is Jade and Bianca technically on SmackDown?
They're technically on SmackDown.
So,
and I think Charlotte is technically on SmackDown.
But she wasn't drafted. Like that, because all that stuff gets thrown in the garbage. Like she'll go wherever they need her to go. So just random things to think about in that division. There's no one there. I'm curious where the storyline goes. I want to know what's going to go on with Dom, with the Judgment Day. There's more to unpack on the Judgment Day that we won't spoil quite yet until we get to it. But the next match, not yet. The next match was for the Intercontinental Championship. We had the challenger, Braun Breaker, versus Sami Zayn. I love the way this match started off, Steven. Like I had been talking about how I thought this was going to be sub 5 minutes. I was pretty close. It was sub 6 minutes. And I like how Braun just tried to win the match off the bell. He goes for that spear. And then I liked how Sami dodged it because they were talking a lot about him saying how he's a master tactician. Like it's almost, it gives me the feeling that Braun knew he had to end this match quickly. Sami knew that was going to be his strategy, so he was prepared for it, almost like he was preparing to fight himself. And I really dug the kind of the ring psychology around that. My big knock. This is probably my least favorite match of the night, just because like nothing happened. It was just a big old nothing burger for me because I feel like it wasn't short enough to make the impact that I was expecting for the sub 5 minute match, and didn't go long enough for us to get like the fact that Sami couldn't overcome again. Like there's only so much he can do because he's less of a physical specimen than anyone else he wrestles. He's that scrappy fighter. He's the guy that always finds ways to win. And in this situation, he just couldn't find a place to win. I love the way how fast Braun is. I love how he hits that spear out of nowhere. And I really love the what was it called? It's the Frankensteiner. It was the Brakensteiner.
The Brakensteiner.
I dig it. I like the way it sounds.
I like that. I mean, either way, it's still going to be. Just call him Steiner. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I would like that.
He's Steiner. I don't even want him to be Braun. Like I hate to say it, but like I know his name is Braun Rechsteiner. But like, so I know Bronson is his real name, but I kind of wish, because like Rick, that's not Rick's real name. Rick's real name is Rob. So like changing your name up doesn't matter, obviously. Scott is obviously Scott, but their last name is Rechsteiner. So I know in the beginning they had like toyed with the idea of calling him Rex Steiner. And I thought that flowed really nicely always. Like,
sure.
Because you would have Rick and you'd have Scott and now you have Rex. And I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. And he has done something that neither one of his lineage ever did. He won a singles title in the WWE. Rick and Scott were not able to do that.
Scott didn't get anything in that.
No,
in that
Scott went after the World
the
Heavyweight title. No, Scott's second time in the WWE was as he was Big Papa Pump. He went after Triple H in the World Heavyweight title, but he never won it. And then that was when he hurt his ankle really bad. Yeah. So
this match, good.
All around, just to kind of go with what you were probably going to say, I didn't mind this match. It wasn't my favorite match on the card by any means, but it wasn't a bad match. Like, I don't think there was a bad match on this card, just for the record. Like, there wasn't anything where I was like, oh man, I can't believe I had to sit through that.
I started the whole thing off saying that I thought this was like a 4-star card. So like I was happy overall. I was very entertained. This one I just wanted more. I really like these two guys. And like they have a lot to bring to the ring. They always have some of the most entertaining matches of the night. I just want a little bit more. Or less. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I could see this though. Them pivoting Braun off of Sammy. I don't know.
We're not getting a rematch.
I don't think, and because they've wrestled three times. They had a 3-way match, and then they had a singles match, and then they had this match. So like they kind of don't need to do this again.
Well, they had a singles match that was
at the last pay-per-view.
Yeah, but then they had another one that was DQ,
and they had a singles match that people got involved in, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I knew there was 3 matches involved in them. Realistically, I feel like the meat of this feud has kind of run its course, and I would like to see them pivot Braun against someone else at this point.
Sheamus, Dragunov. Who's the guy from the Strong Style tag team?
Pete Dunne.
Pete Dunne.
I could see that being a good match.
Wait, Dunne is the one that's feuding with Sheamus right now?
Yes.
Yeah. And so there's a couple of those guys in there that could be, Braun Strowman can kind of be cool in this spot. There's a lot of people that can kind of come into this and give Braun Breaker some cool matches. Don't expect him to drop this belt anytime soon.
No, but if he does,
this is going to be here for a long time.
If he does, you know who I could see him dropping it to? I don't think he's going to drop it to this person. John Cena. The only title Cena has not held.
You know what? I didn't see that coming.
You can't.
Can't see it coming. I could. I could see that. I hope that doesn't happen. I actually think they're going to be more interested in getting him his last world title, and I would actually say that he would be either Damian Priest or Gunther, whoever wins later in the night, for this title over getting the IC title. But that's just me. Who knows? Let him be Grand Slam champion. Let him do his thing.
We'll go back into that when we get to Damian Priest and Gunther.
Yeah. And so we both got this one right. We're tied. We each had Liv. We each had Sammy. And, we're going to have to... There's only one match we picked differently. So we'll get there in due time. The next match is LA Knight.
Yeah.
Versus Cleveland's own son that gets booed wearing Browns gear.
Got booed wearing Browns gear, walking out with Machine Gun Kelly. Although if you're gonna boo 2 people from Cleveland when you're in Cleveland, yeah, I kind of get it.
You know what I didn't understand? Why was Machine Gun Kelly a heel and the other dude was a face? What was the other guy's name?
Ooh, Jelly Roll.
Jelly Roll. Like they were hanging out together. Like they were sitting next to each other in this thing. They just did a song
because Jelly
together.
Roll did not come out with what's his face, with Logan Paul.
Yeah, I get that, but they're still hanging out.
That's the only answer you have, man. That's it.
Keep kayfabe alive. Come on, guys. This match was great. I really, really enjoyed it. They had all the high spots. I love the end of this match. They had a great build. The fans absolutely hated Logan Paul, which I thought was funny because it's his hometown. I'd forgotten this when we were making picks. It would have made me question whether or not Logan Paul was going to win or not a little bit more, but But I think I still would have taken LA tonight because I think you're not allowed to win at home anymore. I think that's a new rule.
I don't think so. I mean, I guess Sammy kind of wins at home every so often, just because, like they said at in Money in the Bank, like once you're from somewhere in Canada, the entire country of Canada is now your hometown.
Yeah, I get that. Also, Canada's different. It's the one. It's the one sacred land that
It's like
doesn't
Robo
count. Like,
Farms.
yeah, it's exactly that
It's
was never my
nothing like
home.
Robo Farms.
No, nor did we ever win there. You won once because you were wrestling me.
Yeah, because I
that was the
wrestled you.
only reason it worked.
Someone had to win.
We got crowned a new U.S. champion with LA Knight. Probably a little late because I don't think he's quite as over as he used to be, but he still has the crowd. So I think that's all right. And then Steven, like you said, this is kind of them testing out is he championship material. What do you think about this match?
I like this match. I actually really like this match. I like that. So we're on match number 3, and we've already had 3 title changes at this point. Basically, like this is the 3rd match, and it's the 3rd title change. So I was like, it actually made me a little nervous going in because I was like, there's no way they can't give LA Knight the title on this, right? Because he kind of deserves this belt. If nothing else, we need to get this belt off Logan Paul. And I was
like, he just never defends it.
He
like,
never
let him come in, put on a great match, and then let him go on.
He's got so much stupid stuff going on in his life where I don't want to look at Logan Paul and be like, he's a heel in real life too. But he's kind of a heel in real life. And unfortunately, that should be taking a little bit of precedent. Like, hey, we probably should. I think they even knew they should have gotten the title off of him a little sooner than this. But the problem is they did Mania and then they put him in the ring with Cody. And they didn't do anything kind of after that with it. Like, I think the original plan was to put the U.S. title on Cody as well. And they pivoted because everyone was like, well, we can see this coming. And then they're like, oh, let's give them something they won't see, that the title's not going to be on the line. So I think they were actually going to try to get LA Knight this title even sooner than they did. And their attempts were just kind of backfiring on them.
Yeah, so I think that he got too caught up in the AJ Styles stuff, and he got too caught up in the King of the Ring.
I agree.
And so then all of a sudden it didn't make sense on the timing, and I'm sure they also wanted to wait for one of the big 4 to kind of give him this. Honestly, this should have been the match for WrestleMania. Would have been.
I agree.
It would have been this, and it would have been better than because WrestleMania was Logan Paul versus Kevin Owens
versus Kevin Owens, which was still a good match.
It was a good match. It was one of those things where I didn't think I knew he wasn't dropping the match because there's too many good guys in that match.
Exactly, and I like the jump start to this match too. I like that this was kind of they fought for what 5 minutes or so before the match ever started. So it was a different start to the match. It was different. It was a different start than every other match on the card.
And you mean they didn't run into the corner and work a shoulder the entire time? Because that's exactly the first 2 matches, which I was really annoyed about that. And guess what? It's what happens in the next match too.
It is. I really like this match. I know you brought up the Super Brain Buster.
Yeah, was it a muscle buster? Was it a brain buster? Or
think
that move looked dope.
It also looked rough.
Yeah, they both bounced up like it was nothing. So that's why I feel like once they get up and you don't seem like there's any cobwebs, I'm down for rooting for it. But it looked awesome.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was
I jumped when it happened. I was a little nervous for that one. And when they did it, it was one of those that going back and looking at LA Knight, when he does a superplex, that is kind of how he lands normally. It's kind of a little bit more crunched up. But I think Logan Paul didn't kind of flatten out like he should have maybe. And we get this, which I hope we don't have to keep seeing that because I'm going to jump every time I see it. And I don't
Fair
know if
enough.
everyone is going to be able to take it as well.
Mm-hmm. I am curious on what LA Knight's going to do, because I'm assuming Logan Paul is going to take a little hiatus right now.
I think he has
And then you have LA Knight. Where's LA Knight going with this? So he's super face right now. Who is his next opponent?
Carmelo?
He's on SmackDown, right?
Yeah, Carmelo.
Yeah.
Carmelo could be cool. I know he's been doing stuff with Legado del Fantasma. But he's kind of been whooping him the entire time, so I don't know if that's really an option.
So, like, that's kind of my question, because you talk about how putting this belt on LA Knight is like a test run to see if he's worth like a bigger title picture. But right now on SmackDown, I don't know who it is that they feud with, unless this pulls him into the bloodline.
I could see this maybe pulling him into the bloodline. Let this, please. I'm praying to you, wrestling gods. This is me. I'm asking for this. Hogan, Flair, JBL, whichever wrestling god you want to talk to. Please, please, please. Let this somehow lead to LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu in a singles feud for the U.S. title. And let you know what? You let LA Knight actually hold his own a little bit, like make this a match. Regardless of who wins, he comes out the better for it.
So I think right now what the WWE is doing is they're about to establish the Freebird rule. And they're going to do it with the women's tag team titles, because they don't want you to see what they really want to do here. Because they just added somebody who is the person that joined Fire and Dawn.
Who just joined Fire and Dawn?
And they screwed Jade and Bianca out of the tag titles.
Blair Davenport. Jumped in. That's right. Sorry, I had a brain fart, folks.
So now I just stink at names, and here we are.
Well, and then you also have on Raw, you have Sonya and Zoe and Shayna Baszler.
Yeah, so you have that going on. But then everyone who actually owns the tag team titles right now have multiple people within this group. So like the Judgment Day, I could see Finn and JD defending the titles, but then Carlito defends them, or Dom defends them, or whatever. Whoever
is this
that happens
finally the point where they kick Carlito out?
I'm not sure about that. Let's talk about that in a little bit. But then what this also allows us to do, the real reason they want to do the Freebird rule, is because they want to get the Tongas together, and they want Jacob Fatu not to be tag team champion.
Exactly.
And so that allows them to do it. But you start over here with the women's tag team titles, because we'll establish rule here so you don't see that we're really doing it to get Jacob Fatu off
the tag team titles.
You have Tama Tonga and you have Tongaloa as the real tag team champions, and they start just doing that more. So you have like a little handoff, and that would open up Jacob Fatu to feud with the LA Knight. For the US title.
In the case of the bloodline with that, I know we always call it the Freebird rule. I feel like this would actually be less of a case of the Freebird rule, and I might be dating myself even with this one, because I realized it was after the Freebirds, but I think this is more of a case of the demolition rule, where Axe, Smash, and Crush were all together, and Axe was kind of on his way out. I think he was looking to really, really retire, because after they dissolved Demolition, Barry Darsow, Smash kept going, and Crush, Bryan Adams, obviously kept going. Not Canadian Bryan Adams, Hawaiian Bryan Adams, just for the record.
Canadian people have apologized for Bryan Adams on countless occasions. So
exactly. So when they were trying to kind of make sure Axe didn't have as much ring time, and Crush was obviously the younger guy, they started putting him in a little bit more. I think this could end up being more like that, where we don't want Jacob Fatu basically saying, you are right. It's your name.
Yeah, I know.
So
it's still the Freebird rule.
It's still the Freebird rule. It's just like almost like an evolved version of the Freebird rule, where they're just gonna push Jacob over here because he shouldn't be in a tag team. Jacob should be the werewolf that he is, roaming the lands and killing like 85% of the people on the roster.
And it's Tongaloa who has the eye patch, right?
Yes, because Tama Tonga is the other one.
Yeah, I want him to have the eye patch forevermore now. I
So
love it.
if I recall correctly, no, I'm thinking of someone else. But I thought Tongaloa had an eye patch in New Japan too. So I think this might be an old gimmick even. But even still, I mean, out of all of them, I love Jacob Fatu, and him and LA Knight. If you guys can go back and watch some of Jacob's old promos from MLW, he's gonna have to tone them down, obviously, because he can't curse to that extent. But he cuts a mean promo, man, and he has. We'll get into it more during the main event stuff, but
yeah,
Jacob Fatu does nothing but impress me every time he comes out to that ring.
And that's where I would like to see him kind of go up against LA Knight. I just think LA Knight needs some strong competition if this title is going to establish him as a main player,
as a possible world title contender.
But love the way this match finished. I thought it was interesting how LA Knight kind of shook off the brass knuckles. Maybe he's part Samoan, so he's got that thicker skull. It doesn't hurt as much. But there had to be some reason that stopped him from kind of really catching that, even though it was kind of like a weak shot. So that's kind of how the U.S. title changed hands. And you're right. It's it's two new champions.
Oh,
you said there's three.
I'm sorry, two new champions and Dom double crossing Rhea. So a lot of stuff going on.
So then we have the WWE Women's Championship match. You have Nia Jax versus Bayley.
Queen of the Ring versus the former hugger.
Yeah, the role model, right? Is that
the role model she is now?
The going back to, though I didn't know this, but everyone was making a big deal about it because they had some major feuds back in their NXT days. A lot of the stuff, if you didn't know that stuff, like I didn't know that stuff, a lot of the moves in this match kind of are callbacks to them, but like change them slightly. Like I believe one of the matches, Bayley taps Nia Jax out
with a guillotine
choke.
Yeah,
and that happens in this one, but Nia Jax powers out of it. I love that kind of storytelling. Even though that was years ago, they still kind of throw back to that stuff. This match was good. I really enjoyed it. It wasn't my match of the night. We haven't gotten to my match of the night, but I thought Bayley versus Nia was great. My same critique always for Nia is always the same, is that I want her to be as strong as she pretends to be. And like there was just two things in this match that just pulled me away. When she had the stalling suplex, that was great. And she was just hanging her there. And then Bayley reverses it. And then Nia goes again, and she is trying to get her. I think she's trying to get her back up to the stalling suplex, and she just can't muscle her up to it.
So she threw her off.
And so she just kind of pancakes her, or whatever you want to call that. So, and then the other thing is, Nia Jax throws a bunch of headbutts, and they don't seem devastating. If I'm not mistaken, she's Samoan, right?
She is Samoan.
Big headbutts are their thing. Like that's what they always do. You see it later too, when Rhea is like throws the nastiest headbutt in the women's division, and you got someone like Nia Jax. There's a problem there, in my opinion. I like that storytelling. So that's just my one critique. But all in all, I really did like this match. There was a great the pop up power bomb on Bayley. I kind of popped for that myself. It was really smooth transition, and I really liked when Tiffy came down to cash in the briefcase, distract Bayley for Nia to get it, and then them celebrate together. That was one thing I didn't see coming. I didn't see Tiffy kind of coming down to help Nia. Yeah, not to cash in, but to kind of help distract Bayley so Nia could win.
So I didn't hate this match. I didn't necessarily like this match though. I guess is where we're at. I think overall this was I think this was my least favorite match. I think I like Sammy and Braun a little bit better than this match. And it's just, I need Nia to be one of the two things. Kind of what you're saying is with, I either need Nia to be as strong as they portray her to be and they say she is, or I need her to be super smooth in the ring. And she's neither one of those things right now. And I like, even the part where I liked to call back to the interview where she was like, I'm clumsy and reckless. And while she was doing it, she almost fell over. And I'm like, you're clumsy and reckless. You just proved that promo right. Like, I was like, the whole point of this was supposed to be that you're like kicking her and like you almost tripped over her leg. So I'm like, maybe you are just a scotch. Maybe this wasn't supposed to be the career path for you. And again, like I said, I'd have to really go back and look, but I know we've talked about that. I think she was in a car accident before she ever got into wrestling, and that limits some of her athleticism. And I don't want to be the guy that bashes on her because of that, but at the same time, I hate to be this way, but this is pro wrestling and it's not for everybody. Not everyone goes to the NFL. Not everyone should go to the WWE. Not everyone should be a famous pro wrestler. And regardless of who your cousin is, maybe this isn't always the right path for you. With that said,
I think you're being incredibly hard on Nia Jax.
I think which is why I'm actually, I realized it even after I was saying it, and I'm pulling it back a little bit. Here's the thing. Nia Jax's growth over the last 8 months has been amazing, but she's just, I don't know this. And this, I'm also mad about this match just because, again, they did Bayley so dirty for 9 months. For 9 months, they've been doing Bayley dirty. I know you and I have talked about this before we came on, but also they did an original poster for SummerSlam that wasn't the one with the bloodline on it. And they had Jade and Bianca on it, who aren't on the show. They weren't here. And Bayley wasn't on the show. She's the women's world champion. She wasn't on the card or on the poster.
Yeah, they've done this to Bayley a few times. I feel like, I don't know what it was that they felt the need to give her the title. That, like, I felt like it was almost they felt obligated to, and no one wanted to do it because that's how they handled her. I'm not saying that's what happened. I do think that you were absolutely burying Nia Jax unfairly. I think that she has put on some really good matches. I think her versus Rhea was a very entertaining match. And yes, before you say Rhea puts on a good match with everybody, it's still a great match, and I enjoy it. I think that she's very entertaining, and I like watching her in the ring. My one critique about her not being as strong as she plays herself up to be, all you have to do is just not bill her as this monster. I know she's big, but you don't have to bill her as this monster that
as like the strongest person in the division.
Exactly. Because if you just don't do that, you're setting her up to fail. And that's what really pulls me out every time. And like, even when I give this same kind of feedback about Willow, they don't bill her this way. So I'm being a bit unfair when I talk about Willow in this aspect of things. It's just, I want her to be that in that situation. I want Nia to be that in this situation too. And they bill her this way. And there's always one or two spots that's like, you just weren't strong enough.
So I will say it this way. In a very uncharacteristic move on WWE's part, because this is very uncharacteristic on that part. They don't normally have two people that are so, like, their gimmick is so, gimmick is a strong word. How they bill them is so similar. Because normally when they have two people that are the exact kind of same mold, they at least put them on different shows. And I think a lot of the problem with Nia in, as far as recent memory goes, is Nia is now on SmackDown. Well, the other woman that's on SmackDown with her is Piper Niven. And Piper Niven kind of does everything that Nia does, but she does it a scotch better. She's the version that, like what you said, like where you said she does have that strength, but she also has the smoothness that I talk about. So it's kind of one of those things where usually they don't have the two very similar people that they can bill the same way on at least the same show. Like you can say Bronson Reed and Otis are built the same, but they're not billed the same. They're not promoted the same way. Bronson Reed is this cannonball of a man that's super strong and does all this cool stuff, and Otis is a comedy gimmick for the most part, and he's treated.
He does the worm.
He does the worm. He doesn't do this massive cannonball splash off the top rope. You know, like they do things that are believable, but I think honestly, I think having Piper Niven on the same show as Nia Jax, and because I do like Piper Niven, I think it draws away from Nia sometimes because they are so similar.
You know, I never noticed it until you said something. So I'm not saying you're wrong, but I don't think it's so similar that it's that they detract from each other.
So they're very different looking. They're very different, like acting even, but the way the commentators and they are promoted is very similar. Like, oh my God, she's so big and strong. And unfortunately, like you said, if they stop doing that with Nia, like they're doing a disservice to her by saying that all the time. My only other knock on this match comes from after the match, and I know we talked about this, and I know you don't tend to watch the press conferences, and I don't usually watch them all the time.
Too much extra.
But they had Tiffy and Nia come out, and Tiffany basically flat out said, "Yeah, I went out there to help my friend." Well, I get that they're heels, but you shouldn't be so happy to have helped her. It makes her win look less legit.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, I think this was just all around my least favorite match. I think some of it was the build up for it was, I don't like what they did with Bayley. Nia, though she's gotten a lot better in the last year, it's still, she's just not my cup of tea as far as the in-ring product goes, even as far as a larger person goes. She's not my monster. I like Sami Zayn and Braun a little bit more than this match.
I just don't think anything happened in the Sami Zayn Braun Breaker match. Like you could have taken this off and just handed Braun I actually would have liked to have seen this one happen on SmackDown. I know they're not on SmackDown, but this one happened on SmackDown coming in and give me the tag team title match on this thing instead. I think you would have gotten more out of that there. But I think you're being too hard on this match as well. I really did enjoy this match. I just think that Bayley is kind of a wayward soul right now. She just has no real direction. There's no real reason to care about her. Storyline wise, she's a great wrestler. I think I like Nia Jax way more than you do. Clearly, I don't even have to like her that much to like her way more than you do.
So my thing with Bayley also do agree with you though is Bayley as a babyface doesn't work with this character.
Mm-hmm.
Like they didn't change her music at all. They still have her come out with the Tritantron that says role model. Like the whole role model thing is a full heel gimmick, and it's like she just didn't. She wasn't necessarily just happy to be there, but she didn't have much direction as to what she was supposed to be doing other than just being happy to be there.
Well, I'm not sure what her gimmick is right now at all, to be honest with you.
I don't think she.
All I know is that she got kicked out of.
She's a good wrestler.
She got kicked out of Damage Control.
Damage Control.
Like that's all I know at this point in time. Like there's nothing. She hasn't done anything. She's a a white bread babyface right now, technically.
But she had awesome Macho Man gear.
They had what's it called? They have a great song for her. Outside of that, I don't know why I should care. I want to. She's a great wrestler. I want to care more. But no one else seems to. So we'll move off this one. So right now, Steven, you and I are tied 4 matches apiece because we each chose Liv, Braun, LA Knight, and Nia to win this. And now we get to the difference. CM Punk, Drew McIntyre with Seth frickin' Rollins as the referee. I chose McIntyre to win this match. You chose a no contest. Like you didn't even give yourself a chance. And I almost thought we were going to it at one point. But you didn't even give yourself a chance. I warned you. I told you just pick something else. At least pick pick CM Punk and own the loss. So this one was my match of the night. I was really invested in this. If you guys can't tell, I love Drew McIntyre right now, the real face of this match. Though Seth Rollins was probably the real face of this match. It was anybody but
face of this match.
It was anybody but CM Punk, and I will get to that eventually. I love how these guys just came out brawling in the beginning. That was the perfect way to start this. I think CM Punk looked great. He's definitely in probably some of the best shape of his career, particularly being as old as he is now. I hope he didn't get hurt in this, because that's the last thing we need right now. There was a lot of great spots for it. I didn't love how many times CM Punk kind of beat Drew in this. I thought that was a little weak. And I really don't understand why a silly bracelet is all that important to CM Punk.
I was just going to ask you about this.
And family members that have given me stuff, and I treasure the gifts my kids give me and make me. I really do enjoy that stuff. But like, I'm not going to freak out and completely lose my mind in any situation for this. And so that one kind of caught me off guard, because I know I overplay it a lot on this show on how much I think CM Punk is the heel, and like no one else seems to agree with me. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. I guess is that the third Will Ferrell quote now?
This is,
and
we'll get another one in. Don't worry.
I'm sure we will. Drew really, to me, is the face. He keeps getting screwed out of every single turn, but then when CM Punk sees the bracelet on Seth Rollins' wrist and goes at him, and Seth is just telling him, it was in the ring, I moved it away. He was essentially keeping it safe for CM Punk, and then hits him out of nowhere with the go to sleep. Like, that's the heel move. He has to be the heel now, right? Please, people, save me from going insane. He's the heel now, right? Because I just don't like, he hit Seth Rollins with the go to sleep. Seth Rollins is untouchable now. He is the uber babyface. So CM Punk is now the heel. Can we agree? Can we agree he's the heel? Are you going to turn the hat around and it's the CM Punk hat? Is like that?
No, I am going to turn the hat around for another uber babyface though. Hold on. I'm just going to do this one.
Okay, it stings, all right, but like, I don't get it, people. Like, I feel like I'm watching a different show. I love that Drew McIntyre gets his win. I loved Seth Rollins in this match. Him doing the Eddie in the corner, watching them beat the crap out of each other, not letting Drew use the steel chair later on because it was going too far, to keep the integrity of the match a little bit alive. I think he played his role perfectly.
I think Seth Rollins did a really good job in this match. I completely agree with you. I agree with you about the bracelet. We said this before we came on the show, and they're making a deal out of this bracelet like this is Rick Rude putting Jake the Snake Roberts' wife's face on his tights. This is not the same thing. This is not the same thing. This is not Drew McIntyre putting AJ's picture on his crotch. Like, this isn't that. This is like this. He's not as mad about Drew praying for his injury and making it happen. He's not as mad about Drew beating the hell out of him before he took the bracelet. And like, I could see if this was something where it's so treasured, but like, Drew just keeps putting it on his wrist. He just keeps putting it on his wrist. He's not like dropping it down his tights. Like, it's not like he's like, I've seen people do worse things with like American and Canadian flags and like outside international flags where they like wipe their butts with them.
Seth Rollins did worse with the sweatshirt in this, when he accidentally hit the sweatshirt earlier and he wipes it on his ass, throws it to the side. I
thought the match was great though. Just for the record, I do love the match. I thought the match was amazing. I liked the end of the match, even though it's not what I picked. All around, I like the match. I love the story to this match. Just in general, it's keeping me enthralled. I'm excited to see where they go. This is clearly not the end of any of this. The only thing that will be pulled into question is whether Punk goes directly after Seth after this, or if he keeps going after Drew for the bracelet, or any of this. The nice thing about this, though, is it keeps all three of them out of the world title picture. So you get a chance to kind of build these other guys into the world title, and maybe bring Punk and Drew and Seth into the world title when you need to make whoever the new guy is seem more legitimate.
I was really worried about Seth in this match because I had said before I thought it was a little weak that he was just a special guest referee and you couldn't figure out what to do with him on this card. They proved me wrong here. I was really, really happy with how he was handled, the things that he had done, particularly when he was yelling at everyone else of being like, stop paying attention to me and get to work. Like, this is what you wanted. Like, you guys have built to each other. Pay attention to each other. Don't get distracted. And even more so when Seth is yelling at CM Punk, when he's like, it's not always about you. It's like, no one wants you here. Like, that was a really good moment to call back to, was it Hell in the Cell or Elimination Chamber when he came back, when Punk came back?
No, it was Survivor Series. It was War Games.
War Games. So that was right before I started watching again.
Yes.
And like with Seth freaking out about CM Punk returning, not knowing that he was returning, hating that he was there, all of that really good storytelling that started there, bringing it back to the forefront with Seth like cracking on him, but again, still keeping his composure enough not to hit him. And still keeping his composure to not get interfere with this match, and calling it down the middle. I thought that was really good. Though I could have used Seth not taking such hard ref bumps because he's not an elderly old man or a woman that's out there.
He's not Earl Hebner.
He's not Earl Hebner getting crushed. He's Seth Rollins. He could take a small bump.
So I enjoy him yelling at Punk. The line of the match for me, though, was when he pulled the chair away from Drew. And Drew was like, why didn't you just let this happen? And he goes, be better. Like, he literally told him,
yeah,
you don't need this. You need to focus on him and just beat him and be better than him. And, like, I was like, yeah, okay. So he, for the most part, he called the match down the line. He didn't even go after Punk after the go to sleep. He just woke up and counted him.
Yep. If you did notice, when they were outside, he was counting originally. He was like counting them out, and like he got to like 4 or 5, and he was like, "Meh, I'm gonna just stop doing this right now." And like I dug those little things because he can't, like, him counting to begin with means that he came down here with the intentions of being an actual referee. Like really doing this right, and then being like, "Oh, I don't care. Let them kick the crap out of each other.
Let them hurt each other. Like, let the boys fight."
And he really did establish himself as the authority in the ring. And I really appreciated that. Not to get in each other's faces, not to get them overly aggravated so they would make a mistake, but being like, listen, I'm not going to handle your BS. I'm going to call this down the middle because I'm the face in this match.
I thought Rollins did really. And are we really surprised that Seth Rollins took this match seriously? I mean, realistically, it's SummerSlam. I get that they could have done this in a way that we wouldn't have been happy, but I think Rollins, there was no way he wasn't going to take this seriously, at least.
Well, I mean, he's a funny character, right? Because he seems like he doesn't take anything seriously. He comes out with his big blouse on and all this silliness that he does.
His Sabu pants, sir. His Sabu pants.
His Sabu pants. All of that. But then, like, when it comes down to business, he's the most serious person out there. It's a fun little dynamic he's
got. Oh man.
So this is me pulling ahead, Steven. You should be ashamed of yourself. I should be up 2 matches on you, but this next one I picked more what I wanted to happen than what I thought was going to happen. That's on me. I'm not making excuses. That's just what I did.
Sounds like
So
an excuse.
we have what's that?
What? I said I'm
What
losing.
was that? Say what? Say again. I don't hear
He's
very well
actually
on this
asking me
here.
because he really can't hear a lot of times.
This here doesn't work so well. The but that's not an excuse, but it is it's the truth because I feel like most people knew what was going to happen in this match, and I really wanted them to do right by Priest. So we have Gunther challenging Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight Championship. You and I both picked Priest on this for essentially the same reason. They've handled Priest about as well since WrestleMania as they handled Bayley. And so we don't have to go in there and really hash that, but it's essentially the same mishandling,
It's
in my
almost
opinion.
the same exact mishandling.
I think the fact that Priest didn't get one clean title defense this entire time is
no, and his
Bush
only
League.
clean win was a non-title win. It was against
Exactly.
Braun Strowman,
which was a great win, and it was nice that they essentially had him do the crucifix bomb into the south of heaven, and he would have beaten Gunther. Like this was the one match that he had the guy beat, and then shenanigans. I really like this match. I loved Damian Priest doing the Frankensteiner. Like that's two big boys going wild.
because neither one of those guys are small.
Priest busting Gunther open with chops. Like I think I've asked you this before. Like, do you consider Gunther an unsafe worker because of how bad he chops people? Because he's out there trying to hurt you.
No,
like that.
No, I don't actually. I don't. I think Gunther is the four. Here's the thing: it'd be different if he went out there and he didn't do this every time.
I get it.
If Gunther went out there and all of a sudden, you never saw him throw these chops, even though he might throw a hellacious one, and then all of a sudden, just one night, he picked whoever he was working with and beat the crap out of him and didn't give them anything. That's the other thing, is it's not like he doesn't give the other guys stuff.
And in every other situation, I'm using that unsafe worker thing as a little bit tongue in cheek, but I will say, every single time someone walks in the ring with them, their chest is swollen and inflamed, and they are hurt.
So I liken Gunther to a Ronnie Garvin. Guys to that effect. Sometimes maybe honestly a Fit Finley, a Regal, more so Finley than Regal, but Regal even to a point. I go more about the Finley and the Ronnie Garvin though, where that was the way they worked. And here's the thing is, yeah, you can say like, oh, no one would go along with that except for Ric Flair went along with it.
Sure.
Ric Flair went along with it. If you know that you can draw money with it, it's funny what you'll allow the other guy to do.
Yep.
And you can't tell me Gunther doesn't draw money. We all believe him as the World Heavyweight Champion. I think Gunther draws money. There's a reason why he held the IC title for 666 days, and he held the NXT UK title for like 300 or 400 days or whatever it was.
Yep. All that stuff. Like I said, I asked that question a little bit more tongue in cheek.
Other people, like, they wouldn't be using him like that. I think he is a solid worker. If you are in the business, you would use the word snug. I think he doesn't leave a lot of air in between the moves that he hits.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't give you the option to not sell something because the punch he threw is 6 inches from your face. No, sure. He tags you a little bit because you have to know that it touched here to know where to sell.
And sorry, I didn't mean to trigger you here, Steve. It was more, like I said, more tongue in cheek, just because he throws those vicious chops.
I've actually heard it before. That was the funny thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay. So this was the thing that when Gunther, when he was still Walter in NXT UK, him and Ilya had this drag out brawl of a match. And not to call Meltzer out on this one, but Meltzer was the one who said, oh, they would never be allowed to do that back in the day. And yeah, they would have. If you know you can draw money with someone, you can do whatever you like. You and I had a match with each other where we beat the ever living hell out of each other.
Sure.
And we're still best friends.
Yep.
We still went out for a beer afterwards.
Yeah.
And absolutely nothing came of it because it's not unsafe work, it's snug work. Snug work is good work. So that's why it's because he had been accused of it a couple years ago, and I was like, this is all around.
So, again, tongue in cheek.
I
will say
I really like this match though.
Me too.
The part of this match that I know we both said it when he rolled over the sleeper hold, and he could have gotten the pin. With
I wish
he
would have won that.
And he rolled it over so nicely too.
Yeah,
like he really bridged that. But I also wouldn't have minded if they gave him that strong win after the kick to Balor, and he turns around and he hits the Razor's Edge and then hits the South of Heaven. If they had given him the win. The crucifix bomb.
Thank you.
I would have been okay with them giving him the win right after that. And it would have been cool. It would have been like, oh.
Yeah.
Not only are we establishing him as this babyface, but we are now holding true to the fact that he is a strong, capable champion. He just won this match as cleanly as it can get. And I would have been down for that. And that's not the path that they went with it. I forgot there was, because you got mad at somebody for doing a driving crucifix, and someone called it a crucifix bomb, and you're like, that's not that either. I think it was Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, wasn't it? I think
I think so.
I think Liv hit one on Rhea, and they called it a crucifix driver, and I was like, that's cool. I like that.
It's better. That's what it could be called. I will say, so this, I think, may have been my favorite Damian Priest match and my favorite Gunther match at the same time. I really, really enjoyed this one. These guys just did beat the crap out of each other in the right way. Like, there's other ones where it's just like three guys beating on each other and like I have no time for it. This one I think was really good. There's a lot of technical stuff in this.
I thought this was a really good wrestling match.
Yeah, like Priest really did elevate his game. I liked him kind of hyping up at the end, like seeing his friend get kicked in the face and him kind of like feeding on that and being like, uh-oh, this is the reason why Gunther loses, is because, again, he underestimates everybody else's emotions and stuff like that. I like the end of this kind of fell a little flat for me because of the way Priest just kind of disregarded the fact that he was world that he was world heavyweight champion, and that no longer mattered. It was just him getting after after Balor. It was honestly, it's just, again, these matches. My biggest critique of SummerSlam in general is they're redoing the same shit over and over again. Like 3 of the first 4 matches all work the shoulder of someone getting hurt, and like that was the same thing back to back, where the person that was supposed to be focused kind of loses his edge because he gets distracted in almost the same thing. Like, it's a bracelet in one and it's Finn double crossing him in another one. That was a little bit him standing around watching the Titantron in order to see that Finn
that it happened.
Yeah, that was like that just slowed everything down.
I want to say the last 2 minutes of this match, I guess it would be. This should have been my favorite match. I think this is my favorite match.
The end of it was just ended in a wet fart, and I wasn't a big fan of that.
It just takes me out, but I think it's one of those, like, I loved 85% of this match. And I feel like that 85% that I absolutely loved is more than what I love for the rest of the card. And it could just be personal interest in my part.
The most important part of a match is the finish. It's the thing you walk away from. It has to be done perfectly. You can't have a perfect match. You can have a perfect match where the middle part isn't all that perfect, but the beginning and the end, you walk away feeling like it was a perfect match. You can't do it when you kind of botch the end. And not there was any botches in this one, but like this one just didn't land with me the way I wanted it to. So that took it down a peg for me. But all in all, like I said, I think this is my favorite Damian Priest match. I think it's my favorite Gunther match. These guys are awesome. I hope they fight again because I would pay to see that as well.
I will say this, this might be me calling out kayfabe a little bit too much. And so if Drew is supposed to be the heel, I get it. He's not. I'm not saying he's
not.
The heel.
He's so not I'll the heel. He's not.
I used Drew less on this one. Nia is absolutely the heel, though. Nia Jax is absolutely the heel in this. Gunther is absolutely the heel in this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. And again, I'm nitpicking on this one. I don't want my heel going out there and embracing their family members after they win their match. And I hate it because it makes you sympathetic. Mm-hmm. And I know I'm like 99% of what Gunther does, I love. It was him going out and kissing his wife. I get it. You just won the World Heavyweight title and your wife is there.
Sure.
I understand it, but don't do it on camera. Have her waiting in the back for you to get back there.
Or do it when they cut away after he stands on the table
and
does his big
have him do it
crossed arms. Yeah,
have him do it then. Nia, I didn't need to see her hugging her mom and The Rock's mom. You know, like I didn't need that because again, that's sympathetic. That's I worked so hard for this. I've been doing this for so long and I finally got my break. Well, I don't care about the heel getting their break. They're not supposed to. You're the heel. It's those things, and I'm not saying like don't have your family in the crowd. I'm not saying don't celebrate with your family afterwards. I'm not saying don't have your family in the back and you go hug them. Or like you said, after he stands on the table, they do a cutaway of something. They do the promo video for Cody Solo, and you don't see what's going on. That's fine. I just don't want it on camera.
Yep, I see where you're coming from, and you're not trying to take that moment away. Don't overreact, people. Don't hear what he's not saying. It's really the idea of keeping the kayfabe alive. But he is a cold, calculated ring general. Like he's out there, he's got no emotions. He just wants to go out there and win and punish people. And a little smooshy kiss to his wife it does pull away from him. I see where you're coming from. I don't care as much, but I get where you're coming from.
Well, and again, it's a nitpick on both of them. It wasn't just him. It's Nia Jax doing it as well. Like, don't show the heel doing this. That's actually, I think it's less of a knock on them and more of a knock on WWE for showing it.
Yeah, agreed. It's more the direction. Like the director in the back should have been like, "Don't show that. No, show the crowd quick. Pan to Cleveland."
Quick, yeah. Show a shot of the ceiling like AEW.
Before we move off this match, are you think you're gonna reach out to Damian and tell him to stop doing your finisher move?
No, if I see him in person, I'm gonna tell him to stop doing my finisher move, especially 5 seconds into the damn match.
5 seconds in.
Listen, 1, he either needs to stop doing it, or 2, he needs to start doing it better and using it as an actual fucking finisher.
I thought it looked good, but at the end of the day, it was like match 2, like move 2.
It was move 2. He hit like a couple punches and then hit my finisher, which he knows what it is. He knows what that move is. I know how he got that move because I was there when he took it from me.
So now we have the main event.
Event.
We have the tribal chief, Solo Sikoa.
Marks. We're doing quote marks on that one.
Are you gonna acknowledge him, Steven? Acknowledge him. He seems like your tribal chief. Versus
like my tribal chief.
The American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, for the WWE Championship. Steven, what did you think about this match?
I like this match. What was it? Bloodline Rules. I don't really know what Bloodline Rules means. We keep saying that. It just means no rules.
No, so Bloodline Rules means interference. It invites. It's like I'm starting to learn this now because now this is our third
Rule
Bloodline
match.
Rules,
And there's
so
always interference.
It means that they're inviting other people to get involved in this because even like this match, they didn't really use weapons.
They didn't.
There was
They
no
didn't.
tables. There was no chairs.
The most they did was what Cody dragged the stairs in at one point,
The
but
stairs,
even that was.
yeah. And then he regretted it later. So this match really didn't take this. They didn't go out into the crowd and kind of do like a falls count anywhere thing. They had a match. The Bloodline Rules is inviting other people to come in and even the odds for the person that they want to. It's almost like a new lumberjack match, I guess you could kind of call it.
It's like a new evolution of a lumberjack match.
Yeah, it's just slightly different, but that's kind of how I could best equate it. I like this as well. I was telling you earlier, Steven, I love how smoothly Solo Sikoa hits Samoan drops. Like it's almost like you could literally just like go to shake his hand and be like, "Oh, Solo, nice. Oh, I just got hit by a Samoan drop." Like,
and then he stands up and goes, "In my house, we just call them drops."
Obviously.
He went home and Alpha Jr. was like, "Yo, why'd you hit so many drops, bro?"
There's so many drops. And he hit like 3 of them, and I popped for every one of them. I really like the way they look with him. I was saying this to you as well before. Like, I get a little annoyed when people do the same moves over and over again. I kind of say, hey, you should be creative. But I like it the way Solo does it. He hits a couple moves multiple times because they're like core moves for him, and they can really have an impact. And they're the things that come out of his toolkit. He does other things really good, but these few moves that he hits, he hit that unagi. Is that how you say it?
Uranagi.
Unagi. He hits sushi. That. Yes, he hits it twice, and they looked really good. The Samoan drops looked really good, so I had no complaints. I thought this match was better than I expected, to be honest.
I thought this match kind of proved Solo deserved to be in this match, actually.
So this goes back to there's a handful of people who I think are just not being booked correctly, and Solo probably falls into that Bailey McIntyre camp because since he took down John Cena, he's been booked terribly. He was booked so poorly, and then when Roman left, he was expected to step into this dominant spot, which he really didn't establish. Like, there was no real, he is a killer. He is so good. And that's I think I said this last time he had a match too. I don't like how much Solo showboats. Like, he needs to stop. He is a calculated killer. Stay on top of your guy. Brutalize him. Don't walk around. Don't look at the fans. Like, there in the beginning, Cody, I think this match started so quickly and it was better than everyone expected. And I thought Cleveland was in shock. Like, everyone was just like, it was almost like they moved from Cleveland to Tokyo. Everyone kind of got quiet and they were just like, ooh, I'm watching. And so Cody was like, all right, let's get the clap going. Let's get the crowd back into this, like, cheering wise. And then Solo was like, and addresses the crowd. Don't do it, Solo. Stop. Just like, don't let up. Don't let Cody get back to his feet. Don't showboat. Don't like slowly stalk around without purpose. The type of character that he's built feels like someone just stalks his prey and never gets up and never gives up on them, and that's what I want to see.
Well, and if you're grooming him even before this, you're grooming him to be the new tribal chief. That's not so far off from Roman, realistically. Roman doesn't showboat. He doesn't, he takes his time and you makes him move at his pace. Like, Can he move fast? Yeah, but when he wants to. He moves at his speed and he kills at his speed. And, even when he's playing with his food, so to speak. It's on his time, and I feel like that's where you're getting with Solo is what you're saying is when Solo is out there, even if he's not taunting the crowd, he's taunting his opponent. He's not and he's not showboating. He's like I said, he's playing with this food. He's the cat playing with the mouse.
And I want less of it. I want him to focus on his meal and take them down, because that's when you'll start getting more serious. He hasn't done enough for me to believe that he can take these seconds off to let your opponent recover a little bit, and I just don't buy it. But this was, I think, his best match that I had seen from him. I definitely
think
bought
this
it
was his
more,
best match.
And I think he's becoming more and more lethal. And then we get all of the outside interference, right? We get Tongaloa and Tamatonga coming down, and then Kevin Owens. Oh, I guess I should start from the beginning. Nice little appearance from Arn Anderson. That was fun.
Pharaoh's last show ever. The dog.
I saw that as well. It took me a second to understand what was going on there, to be honest. Why is there a dog? Is he a Stark now? Is that what this is? He wasn't. I got it at the end. Arn warning him that like he's got some friends. I know all your friends have been taken out, but you have other friends, or the same friends.
Or that's the same friends. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for someone else. Like there was a lot of rumors that it might have been Cardona that was going to come out for him.
Yeah.
Which would have been awesome.
It's exactly the same, Steve. It really
was exactly the same. Like, I'm like,
Kevin Owens comes down.
I was waiting for somebody. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe this is when the Motor City Machine Guns comes out. I don't know. Maybe this is Cardona.
It could have been a great debut. It could have been Cena.
Someone said to me, "What if Dustin comes out?"
Great.
And I would have lost my mind. But I also knew it wasn't going to happen because he's currently one of the Ring of Honor champions.
Sure. My favorite part of the match, on the funny side, is when Kevin Owens comes out and he realizes how far from the ring he really is, and then he has to run. I feel like he was like, "Son of a bitch!" All right.
I like how Kevin Owens acknowledges it. And Randy just jogs,
slapping hands,
like his best friends aren't getting the hell knocked out of him.
Did he stop to sign a couple of autographs like Cody did on the way down?
He definitely fist bumped somebody.
Yeah, he was slapping hands, doing his thing.
Now on the other side of this, I'm going to I have to say the word right. I'm going to give more flowers to someone who I have been gushing over since the beginning, and that is Jacob Fatu.
Yep.
Has there been a point since he's shown up that he hasn't impressed just everybody? And just for the record, Jacob Fatu is not really hurt. Like he didn't blow out his ankle. If you go back and you watch that review, he lands that move correctly. And then the way he sells that move is even better. He sold an injury that he didn't really have on an offensive move, and him throwing the chair around and stuff like that and looking like he still wanted to kill somebody. I think all he did was help himself during this show. He did great work.
I bought it, to be honest with you. Like he sold it so well that I was like, he's clearly hurt. And I think the majority of people are. I'm with you. It could be a work. He's in a walking boot now, which obviously he's in a walking boot. You can't sell that hard and not do that afterwards. So that doesn't tell me he's hurt or he's not hurt at this point in time.
So what tells me
but
he's
I think
not
he did
hurt,
a fantastic job.
What tells me he's not hurt is the press conference afterwards. Triple H kind of shrugs it off a little bit. Like he's like, Jacob's moving around a little bit right now. Like he like doesn't sell. Like if he was really injured, or they were taking him to the hospital, they would have used the dreaded medical facility term. Like, well, he's on his way to a medical facility. He's being seen by trainers right now. None of that was said. It was just, yeah, he's a little banged up.
The reason why I agree with you that it was a work is they didn't move him. Like, they just left him out there.
They didn't move him, but they needed him out of the actual finish.
Yeah. For the return of the real tribe, the original tribal chief.
To acknowledge. I will acknowledge.
Everyone was. All of Cleveland was acknowledging.
All of Cleveland.
And, like, it's so crazy how over Roman is now as a face from losing at Mania, because everyone was doing it. Like, he had to be getting goosebumps as he was walking down.
Oh my God. And I love the walk down because that is the tribal chief. I am the head of the table. I don't care if you guys are having a main event match for the WWE Championship. You're still on my time. That's still my ring.
He had purpose. He wasn't moving slow.
He wasn't moving slow.
He wasn't running.
But he didn't run like everyone else did. Yeah. He came down to the ring at his speed. Again, technician, tactical killer. He came down with his purpose and then walked in there and beat the hell out of Solo. Hit him with a Superman punch.
Superman punch, spear.
The one of the best spears I've seen him do in a minute too. That was he ate up every bit of that crowd.
Yep.
I don't know what the shirt stands for. It's either original tribal chief or only tribal chief or something along those lines. I don't care either way. It's a cool looking shirt. He looked great. I like the look at Cody like, I'm not here to help you. I'm just here to hurt him. And honestly, I
got a little, your time will come.
Yeah, like it was, I respect you because you fought me like a man. And this guy is trying to steal my stuff behind my back.
Yeah.
So I'm handling this right now. And like I said, I can't wait for them to make this. It's already personal. Their family. It's going to be personal. I can't wait for them to let Roman grab a mic and say things like, I was gone. And you hurt my wise man. You tried to take my bloodline. You hurt my cousin. You did all of these things to people who didn't attack us. And you did it all while I was burying my father. Like the second you say all that, all of a sudden it's like, I hope he says it. I hope he says it just like that. Just, you did all this while I was like, my father, your uncle, I was putting him in the ground and you were still doing all of this and disrespecting me.
So where is Roman is SmackDown, right?
Roman is SmackDown.
At this point. Yeah. So I don't think you'll have to wait long because you'll have a 40-minute promo coming your way on Friday.
Well,
back to the 40-minute promos.
It'll be 20 minutes of promo, 20 minutes of entrance time.
Sure. Because he walks at his own pace. All in all, and then Cody takes down afterwards, after the assist from Roman. All in all, like I said, I really enjoyed this show. I got 6 points to your 5, Steven.
So you pulled away by 1. Pulled away further by 1.
Yep. I don't need it, but I think that brings me to 9.
Is it 9? I thought that's 8. I thought you were at 7 before.
It was 8. Let's see. I'll tell you in 1 second. So you have little math here, a little drum roll, please.
I think you owe me a drum. Give you a drum roll. Let me hit you that drum roll.
I'm beating you by 9.
Hopefully, there's enough time left in the year to even this out.
I mean, you haven't. Right now, your goal should just be beat me in a pay-per-view or PLE. Like just get one over on me because you haven't done that. We've tied. That was the closest you've gotten, and I think that was only once.
No, I think we've tied more than once. We tied at Elimination Chamber.
3, 4. There's 4 times we tied. Elimination Chamber, Revolution, Backlash,
Is it Clash at the
and Double
Castle?
or Nothing.
No. Double or Nothing.
Those are the 4. And I've beaten you every other time. You should be ashamed of yourself, Steven.
I sit in the penalty box and I feel shame.
You sure do. But that is our review of SummerSlam 2024. Thank you all for coming and spending this time with us. We really appreciate you guys. Let us know what you think. There's the comments below.
All the
Tell
comments,
us
guys.
what your favorite matches were. Where are we wrong? Was Steve too hard on Nia Jax here? Because he was.
I might have been.
There is. Please let us know, and we really appreciate everything you guys do for us and keeping the show alive with us here. So we'll see you next time, or we'll see you on another time.
Have a good night, guys.